What's going on, everyone? Happy Monday, 3:30 stream today. We're going to do a best ball mania draft per usual. Be about 40 minutes. Let's do it. I'm already in this thing. We got the third overall pick. I feel like this is the third. Is this the third stream in a row that I've gotten the third overall pick? Kind of strange. We'll go Tyreek Hill, though, to kick things off. Hope everyone had a great weekend. Hope everyone's ready for a fantastic week. Hope you had a good Monday. Remember to take advantage of the Underdog promo. If you are not an Underdog user, you not only get a deposit offer up to $250, but also you get a free late round draft guide when you sign up. Pretty chalky so far. AJ Brown did jump ahead of Bijan Robinson in this one. It's going to be interesting to see where Puka Nacua goes because he has this knee injury that he's now dealing with. Going to be interesting to see where Brandon Ayuk goes. What's going on? I can't pronounce your username. Rolling. I'll just call you Rolling. Matt, JJ, love the draft guide and all your content. Appreciate all you do for the community. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it, man. We'll see where Puka goes. We'll see where Brandon Ayuk goes because there's a lot of strong rumors now about him going to Pittsburgh and the 49ers being open to a trade, which, all offseason I was just assuming that, not assuming, but I thought there was a pretty good chance that he would stay in San Francisco. I'm underweight. I looked today, I'm at 6% Ayuk, which I'm pretty happy about. I'm at like 10% Debo. So I like that ratio. I wish I had a little bit more Debo at this point. But, I'm going to be open to, if Debo falls to me, I'm just probably going to take him just to play into these rumors a little bit. Am I SOL if I signed up and forgot to enter the promo? I mean, you can try to message Underdog. I'm a partner of Underdog. I'm not a full-time employee there, so I can't, I don't know how that works. If you signed up recently and forgot, I think they might be I have no clue. So Puka still goes 11th overall. I think that he should probably be falling. I didn't officially update my rankings with the Puka stuff. I haven't had time today. Had a couple shows that I did earlier today. One with Yahoo Fantasy with Matt Harmon, which will drop soon. One with Pat Mayo, but it was about the challenge. It wasn't even about fantasy football. I'm a big fan of the challenge. If any of you guys watch the challenge. Thoughts on Jonathan Brooks with the news around him making his debut week 3 to 4? I think that's what we should have generally expected. I mean, there was obviously the chance that it would have been more optimistic than that and things would have been better. But yeah, I mean, I think that that's like a reasonable outcome. That's what we saw with like a Todd Gurley, for instance, in his lead up to during his rookie year to being a offensive rookie of the year. What's the earliest you take Puka right now? Yeah, I don't know yet. I haven't really had enough time to think about it and read up on what some of the docs were saying. In this particular draft, I was just planning on avoiding him, unless he fell to like an obvious place. But I have a feeling that I'm going to probably have him, I don't know. It's hard because the second round is just filled with ambiguity to begin with. There goes Debo. Filled with ambiguity to begin with. So, I mean, I can still understand taking him at the top of the second, but I'm definitely going to have Garrett Wilson over him. I've been drafting Puka over Garrett Wilson for the most part. I've just been going by ADP. What's up, JJ? Just saw that Jordan Addison has an arrangement and plea hearing on October 7th. I didn't even see that. I haven't really been drafting Addison though. But that's kind of bad because we want his suspension to happen early. We don't want it to happen late in the season. So I don't know what that means from a suspension timetable standpoint. All right, let's see who's best available. This is kind of rough. I guess we're going Devontae. You know what? We're gonna get a little weird and get Malik Neighbors. We're gonna get him early here. It's a wide receiver heavy draft. I want to get a little bit more exposure to Neighbors. I'm about at market. Just because I haven't been in the right positions to necessarily get him. So, I think this is a giant tier. Some people will say, I can't believe you took him over Adams. There's plenty of question marks around Adams in this situation this year. Don't really want to go Ayuk right now. And then I'm hoping that some of these other guys will, like a Devontae or something, will hit me in the next round. But the fact that, Waddle and Achane went, October 7th is midweek 5. Yeah, I just don't know if he would get suspended immediately or how that all works. Oh, I don't want to take Ayuk. Really don't want to take Ayuk. And now he's at the top of the board. All right. We're going to go DK Metcalf. I don't want to take Ayuk right now. There's too much up in the air. At least Rashee Rice has a court date in December. Yeah, exactly. So I just don't know, like as a fantasy analyst, of course, we're, trying to figure out these situations, but you guys know as much as I do with a lot of this stuff. This isn't like analysis, right? I mean, it's analysis from the standpoint of like reading, but it's not like data crunching and football analysis or anything like that. It's literally like, what's the court going to say? I don't necessarily know. What is the other podcast you do regarding streamers and waiver wire? Had my home league draft and my running backs stink. Need to work the waiver wire if I want a chance. So we don't talk about running backs. We only talk about quarterbacks, tight ends, and defenses because that's what the streaming positions typically are. You can't really stream running backs very well. That's just a waiver wire ad. Streaming is based on the idea that other players or other managers in your league are not as optimistic. Or sorry, that's not the right word at all. Are not as they don't need to go after a quarterback, tight end, and defense as heavily because they're not in high demand. They're not in high demand. They're not high demand positions. So running back, everyone, no matter what, even if your running back room is good, you're going after top running backs. You can't really stream that position. It's analyzing how efficient a court system is, which is amazingly inefficient. Yeah, that's true too. Good lawyers will get that court date moved to February. Yeah, we'll see. The difference, though, is that Addison has come out and said that he will take whatever he needs to take because he screwed up. Like he admitted that he's got to pay his dues and do his time. I got my Mo Alley Cox jug here. Tuned in during a bad day at work. I'm sorry, B. Smith. That sucks to hear. Wondered if you were doing any eliminator drafts since it's about to close. I haven't done eliminators. I've been focused on more of the traditional style this year as I'm becoming a best ball bro. And then trying to max enter best ball mania. Overall, the number of drafts, I think I did about 100 to 120 drafts pre NFL draft. And then post NFL draft, I think I'm around 425. That's where this is. And this is probably like my 105th, 106th, maybe even 107th best ball mania. But yeah, I didn't do any of the eliminators. I love that there's a lot of formats that people can choose, what they feel best with, but that's the direction I went in. I don't love this start for what it's worth. I mean, it's a little bit different because a lot of people will not have Neighbors and Metcalf together since they've been third round picks. And there's a flatness that occurred here, in my opinion. And I didn't want to really force it with Devontae, all that stuff. I wasn't going to get Neighbors in this spot, given where like Cup went and whatnot. But I would have loved to have Cup here. But it is what it is. I don't think I lost the league / can't advance with this start. I mean, they're all good wide receivers. It's a different game and drafts are a little wild comparatively. Yeah, I would imagine. 173 drafts in, probably stopping at 180. Yeah, that's the thing. Like with Best Ball Mania, I've been kind of pacing I've been going kind of at the same rate as the fill rate with Best Ball Mania, right? So when BBM was like 50% filled, I was at like 55% of my teams. Right now, I'm like at 70%. 66 to 2/3 to 70%. And I think BBM is at like 60% or so filled. So I'm a little bit ahead. I'm just trying to pace it so that I can continue to do live drafts with my BBM drafts, and not fall behind and really like get screwed, whenever it's about to close. And I'm doing stuff this month. I have a lot going on. Like I'm going to the expo this weekend, got friends coming in next weekend. I got plans again the weekend after that. So it's going to be harder to draft on the weekend. So I'm just trying to get as many of these drafts in as I possibly can. Have any of your BBM drafts been voided afterwards? No, that hasn't happened to me. I think there's been instances where I could have, where I thought it might happen, but it didn't. So a lot of tight ends. Did Andrews? Yeah, Andrews went. Kelsey went. Laporta went. Man, it'd be nice if I had gotten Jalen Hurts or Devontae Smith rather to get with Jalen Hurts. It's really hard to take Jalen Hurts. In this spot, I might go McBride. Just trying to think. I might go McBride here over T. No, you know what? We're gonna go T. You're never gonna be upset when you take a wide receiver. That's the bottom line. What's up, Joe? Good to see you. Most rostered player, Jonathan Brooks at 38%. That's pretty bold. I have a lot of Brooks, but not 38%. Why would they void a BBM draft? Because there's punks out there who will enter them and screw around. And it ruins the integrity of the draft. I was thinking about going Ridley here. Man, this is a sharp room. I guess we'll go McLaurin. We have no correlation right now, but I guess we'll go McLaurin. Kind of wish I would have gone McBride. We got a wide receiver heavy team though. That is so annoying. Had someone draft all Dolphins roster. Yeah, I mean, like there was one that I thought might get voided because I had drafted Jamar Chase and T, and they took Joe Burrow in the 5th, but that was after someone took Debo and Ayuk at the 1-2 turn, and this same team took Purdy in the 2nd. So I thought it was a situation where they were just trolling, but then the rest of their draft after round 5 was pretty normal. So I think that it's not going to get flagged, or it didn't get flagged. Have any of your BBM? Oh, no, I already read that. I'm just making sure I read everything because, as I learned in the last stream, people get mad when I don't read every single comment. I try to read all of them. I've not gotten my glasses yet. Waiting for that call. Be nice to have those on these streams so I could see a little bit better. So yeah, I have not a ton of correlation going right now. I really don't have any. This is what next round I'm going to have to really think through the pick. I had all the Eagles draft in my draft last night. Was odd, but seemed legit. I can't remember who it was on here, but they said that they've started AJ Brown, then Devontae Smith in the 2nd. I did that yesterday, and I actually didn't mind my team because you can really force it with Jalen Hurts. You don't have to pick him in the 3rd. You can get him in the 4th. I know you have this like urge to get him in the 3rd, but you definitely can get him in the 4th because most rational people won't draft a naked Hurts. But I didn't mind my team doing that because the 2nd round is just flat. Devontae Smith could easily outscore Devontae Adams or Jalen Waddle or even Drake London. That's not a crazy thought at all. I've been detouring after 3 wide receivers lately. I'm curious to see how this goes for you. I usually have been too. I haven't been like this wide receiver heavy very often. But what's good is there's been, if Deontay, part of the problem is there's other players that like DeAndre Hopkins, for instance, that's fallen. And, there's just situations that aren't as crisp and good. And so the wide receiver value at this turn used to be a little bit better, slash where my 7th round pick is going to be. So we'll just see what's there. I mean, I'm not like loving this start. I'm just going to have to work around it. They're all like individually fine picks, right? But I don't think anyone's staring at this roster being like, man, you really got some sweet game stacks going on, sweet correlation. We'll see. I think Kenneth Walker would be a fun pick next. I don't have a ton of Walker, but he's getting some good camp hype. He's gonna be removed from my do not draft list, or my avoid list. I shouldn't say do not draft. My avoid list this week in the draft guide, just because of that hype. I'm not like, I have him at like RB. Excuse me. I'm at like RB 19 and he's RB 16, so it's not like that different. But I've been drafting a lot more Charbonnet. Kyle Pitts is not a bad play here either. I could think about Kamara though in this round, this next pick. I'm going to get destroyed here and they're going to take Walker. Okay. All right, we'll go Walker and start building a Seattle stack. Well, you're set up to test the Jaden Daniels can break fantasy take that's out there. Look, I think that he could hypothetically break fantasy. I don't think that it's likely, because you still need, like, the thing with mobile quarterbacks, you still need good passing numbers to really be a good fantasy quarterback. Thoughts on Turpin? I don't think that you need to do anything with him outside of a kick return league. All right. Next pick, probably JSN if he's there, which stinks because I don't know if he will be, because of the way that, see, this is what I'm talking about. Like, around this turn, it didn't used to be this ugly. We're going to stack Seattle though. It just didn't used to be this ugly. But that's fine. I think JSN there with Metcalf, with Kenneth Walker. That's a fun little Seattle stack. Maybe we can get a Chicago player, one of the Chicago running backs late. I really don't like DeAndre Swift that much. Haven't been drafting much of him. Thoughts on the current quarterback health in Seattle? It sounds like it's not that big of a deal. Do you think Ladd McConkey's injury is a serious drop in ranks? I haven't been like super, super high on McConkey. I think he's fine. But yeah, with the injury and like his injury history, it's a little bit scary. I think Brian Thomas has been a better pick than McConkey all offseason. He just has, he's not getting as much steam, but I think that he has more upside given the archetype, given the kind of player he is. Thoughts on Kadarius Toney? Not someone that I think that you need to be that concerned about in managed season-long leagues. If I need a random Chiefs player as part of a stack, I'll throw the dart, but I think we've seen enough of Toney. How would you rank Packers offensive weapons? I mean, ranking, I think ADP is about right for underdog purposes. Yeah, Herbert's foot is a bigger deal than Ladd's injury, I think. Packers offensive weapons, I think, are ranked properly. It's a matter of, do you take on the ADP? I'm fine with taking on any of them in best ball. My issue is in managed season long leagues, I'm probably not. And I'm probably just going after like Dontavian Wicks and throwing that dart and hoping that, the numbers that we saw from him last year, the peripherals / the coach speak that's coming from them, that all of that kind of comes together. It's hard answering questions while drafting sometimes. I lose my train of thought very easily. Hopefully I do an okay enough job. All right, this is just such a dead area of the draft, man. Romeo Dobbs getting a drum beat from, like, I think there's going to be a rotation. Like, we know that's likely to be the case. I think Jaden Reed is the most talented wide receiver on that team, but again, you have to pay the price. And I don't think paying that price is necessarily worth it every time. I think he goes kind of in the right range in best ball because there's a lot of upside. But in managed season long, I think it's just going to be a headache. Thinking about Burrow maybe in this next pick because we have T. Nice thing with Burrow is that some guys are emerging a little bit outside of the main, the big two. Honestly, could go Burrow and run it back with Chase Chase Brown. My gosh, I'm tired. Any thoughts on Roman Wilson? He's been banged up, and they might be getting Brandon Ayuk with these rumors, but we'll see. Where's the Jamar? All right, the Jamar managers right here. They're gonna probably snipe me with Burrow. I'm getting a second wide receiver on LSU offense vibe from Brian Thomas that he's being underrated. I think Brian Thomas is a good prospect. I thought the big five in the draft, the top 5 wide receivers that were drafted, I thought were the best 5 wide receivers in this draft. And there was a big gap. Like, you can look at my prospect model, you can look at my prospect guide, all that stuff. I really thought that they were the best players. Man, this is such a dead spot, man. I'll go. All right, good. I didn't mean to click Tony Pollard there. We're going to go Burrow here. And we're going to bring it back around. Maybe get Njoku. I don't mind that look. But if we can't get Njoku, I think we go Chase Brown. He's been rising so much in ADP. Around 100 is where I think I'm comfortable taking him. How about Ricky Pearsall? I liked Pearsall as a prospect, but he wasn't as good as the other guys. He was my number 6 wide out in this class from a model standpoint. Yeah, Cincinnati, Cleveland, week 16 is definitely there with Njoku, which is why I'm thinking about going that way. So we got Njoku at tight end. We also get Njoku with Tyreek Hill. That was the other reason to go with Njoku. Chase Brown's not going to be back, though, in the next round. I think Burrow and Geno are fine enough. If I get Geno late. Burrow and Tua. I don't have a ton of Tua. I just don't love Tua. Even in a stack. I mean, it's just, there's a lack of upside with him. You can get that kind of production. There's Chase Brown. You can get that kind of production, out of a Stafford, out of a Geno, out of a Will Levis. That a 4-gallon bottle? No, it's a gallon, though. You guys need to be introduced to Mo Alley Cox. What's your take on Njoku's splits last year? I think Njoku's always been a really good tight end. The reason I'm into him this year, or I've been okay with drafting him, I should say. I shouldn't say like I'm into him, but I think the Browns are going to be a pretty pass-heavy offense. They're going to spread it out a good bit. Ken Dorsey's there. He's a pass-friendly coordinator. I think that's what Deshaun Watson needs, and that's going to benefit a guy like Njoku. Jerry Jeudy's been banged up. He could end up being the number 2 option in the passing attack. So his ADP, going 2 rounds after Jake Ferguson, I don't see nearly that big of a difference between those two. I guess it's not 2 full rounds. It's more like one and a half. You feel like talking about prospects with most promise due to draft day delta? Are you talking about draft capital delta and the metric? I'll talk about prospects. You guys just fire away the questions. I just don't get where it's now settled with Brian Thomas getting compared to Rome and Worthy. So I end up smashing him a lot more now. Yeah, I think Brian I don't know what that means exactly. Oh, you don't get where it's now settled with where he goes compared to them. Yeah, I have more Brian Thomas than Worthy and Roma Dunze, but I think Worthy and Roma Dunze are fine too. Like I like attacking rookies in redraft. Thoughts on double tapping running backs in best ball? I don't generally do it. There's been some research. Justin Herzig talked about it on my podcast a little bit. The ETR guys have done research on it that it's okay to do. because it does differentiate your lineup a little bit. I just don't have the balls. If you spill that thing, you need to redo the floors. Yeah. I mean, there's just water in it, thankfully. I don't have like Kool-Aid. Like that one clip from what is it, Bert Kreischer? I don't really listen to that podcast. I just see the clips on TikTok and stuff, and he's drinking Kool-Aid out of his coffee or out of his like thermos. There's not Kool-Aid in here, it's just water. I went on a long walk today. Need to hydrate up. Your water arm is going to be swole. Other will be a toothpick. It's like a punter or a kicker in the NFL, right? One leg is just bigger than the other. All right, we got to get ready for this next pick. Thinking running back. I mean, there's not going to be. Oh, I would have loved Javonte Williams. That would have been a really solid pick. I don't like Trey Benson where he goes. Gus Edwards, I don't love. Let's try Corum and go for upside, I guess, or Judy and get. I just am worried about the injury a little bit. Let's just go Corum and see if Judy falls back because we got some other Cleveland running backs we can go after in the next round. I'm not gonna force it with Tua. I'm gonna work on the Seattle stack. Yeah, the clip where Tom finds out it's cool is too. It's just such wholesome. Like their stuff always isn't wholesome, but it's very wholesome. It's very funny. Yeah, I agree. The trace minerals in the Mo Alley for that water to hydrate best. Yeah, I feel that. All right, let's go Jerome Ford. Just get some more running back bodies in there. I think it's clear. Yeah, that's why. So I picked Ford here, like you said, lights out. I picked Ford here because I think that the early season stuff for Ford is favorable, and then Blake Corum could be maybe a later season one as like injuries pile up or they just start to get more out of them. So I like the balance of those two. You like Jacoby Myers at his ADP? I like Jacoby Myers as a player. I just haven't found myself drafting him very much at all. Any guys that situations are comparable to guys like Warren or Achane in 2023? So pass catching backs that are going late that might carve out a role. Ty Chandler's kind of interesting. Jaleel McLaughlin is probably like the dude though that fits that archetype. Listen to the stream during an online call challenge. Accepted. Nice. Look, my job is to make you less efficient at your job. That's why I do this. What's your honest opinions on that Washington offense? Worried about the line. I don't think Cliff Kingsbury is that bad. I think they're going to run a decent amount of plays because that's what we've seen historically. But yeah, I mean, like, I'm not like overly high on Terry McLaurin. I'm not overly high on Jahan Dotson. I drafted a lot more Brian Robinson in May than I do now, just because process-wise, I thought that he was a better pick than I realize now. I'm still underweight on him. I don't have like any Austin Eckler. If Austin Eckler has a good season, your boy's going to be down some cash. But I just don't think that he's someone that's going to like burn me. Famous last words. I have some. I think I'm at like 3% Austin Eckler. He just worries me. With Brian Robinson there especially. All right, so next round, Jaleel McLaughlin fits this build really well because you get the Cincinnati Week 17 correlation. We'll see what happens. Yeah, famous last words indeed. Thoughts on Dylan Laube as a last round dart throw? I think that I loved Laube as a prospect. I wrote about him in my prospect guide as someone that's fun and has a really good receiving profile. And I'm a sucker for pass catching running backs. My thing with Laube is I think that he ends up cutting more into Zamir White than having standalone value. That's the fear. Can he be, in PPR, an RB3 type, high end RB4? Sure. But I think that the most likely scenario is that he just digs into Zamir White more than having standalone value himself. What's up, Beefcake? Good to see you. JJ, my boss caught me drafting a team and threatened disciplinary action. Told him to pound sand. I'm sweating a Demario Douglas stack in the 18th round. Oh, man, so good. All right. Next pick is coming up. We can probably wait on McLaughlin. Famous last words. Dowdle doesn't really fit the build, but we do need running back bodies. He just got picked anyway. I guess we'll go McLaughlin and not risk it. Let's do that. A little bit ahead of ADP, but who knows what other people would do here. Although a lot of these teams have, a decent amount of running backs. People are saying Marshawn Lloyd. My fear, I have a lot of Lloyd. I've cooled off on him over the last week and a half because they've been steaming up A.J. Dillon, getting some touches in that offense. And as much as we all understand that he's not the dude, I just have fear that they don't care. I'll get Luke Musgrave if he's here and just go with a 2 tight end build. I might wait, actually. Let's go to Deshaun Watson. Should we go to Deshaun? I like the idea of going Watson and just having a Seattle stack and not playing into the Geno injury. I like Deshaun too this year. We're going Deshaun Watson. We got him with Njoku. We have the bring back with Tyreek Hill. Now we just have a standalone Seattle stack with that. It gives it a little bit of a differentiated look, right? Yeah, Justin Fields went at I pick 145. I think that's too high. I don't even the thing with Fields is I don't even know if number one, obviously we don't even know if he's going to play this year. But number two, you don't gain that big of a delta and that big of an edge at quarterback, right? Like even if they have these monster games, whatever, Fields still needs to be a good passer to be a good fantasy asset. Period. Like like I've done so much research on mobile quarterbacks in fantasy football, like an absurd amount of research on it. And I still think the market and the people who talk about it still tend to get it wrong a little bit, where they think that mobility equals ceiling. Mobility equals floor. The ceiling comes when you have good passing, because good passers who aren't mobile can be good fantasy assets, right? Like we see that all the time. Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, they've been good fantasy assets. Passing still drives that game. But if you have rushing, you're raising the floor, which inherently, if you have good passing as well, you're then raising the ceiling too because of the passing. So with Fields, we've actually seen kind of a roller coaster. He's not always a beast in fantasy football. He's very good, obviously. I'm not saying that that he's not he'd be a bad asset. But my thing is that like number one, we don't even know how good he would be. Number two, we don't know if he's going to be playing. And then number three, if he starts the season, like everyone's worried about Russ losing his job, and that's why he's been going so late. Well, if Justin Fields starts the season, are we so sure that he's going to keep his job? And like we're drafting a guy like Fields for the final weeks, right? I think throwing a dart in round 15 plus is fine. And I wish I had more Fields for sure, because Russ getting hurt completely derailed completely derailed the hope that there wouldn't be a quarterback competition if you were drafting Russell Wilson. I really wasn't drafting either of them. But and so that's like the injury has like ruined Russ. And that's really helped Fields because he stepped in and now played. The other piece to this is the biggest problem with Justin Fields has been his taking sacks and not being a very good quarterback under pressure. And when you're in camp, That's not really happening. You're not seeing pressure the same way you're going to see on game day. And so of course he's going to look a little bit better. That's my stance. That's my take. NBC Edge has a positive blurb on Fields. Yeah, I mean, he's been getting a lot of love. I follow a lot of the Pittsburgh beat writers. I'm from Pittsburgh and I grew up a Steelers fan. So I know a lot of the beat writers and they've been pretty positive too. Like the bottom line is I don't love I just don't love the idea of like, I don't know. It's the way that I analyze fantasy football. I don't love the idea of being like, I know for certain that this guy's going to start when it literally comes down to a coaching decision. Like we don't know exactly what's going on with that staff. Should we just keep piling up Seahawks? Let's do it. So we got this giant Seahawks. Oh man, I got the double bye. I'm gonna have to probably take. I mean, this is a team where I could afford to take the third tight end. I wasn't paying attention there though. It's not that big of a deal at tight end, but I ideally don't want to do that. All right, running back. We're in a dead-ish spot. Could go Bucky. Trying to squeeze him in a little bit more. Don't really have any correlation there. Let's go with Irving though. Who are your favorite rookie running backs? I got a lot of. I think that most of the late round guys are good picks. Ray Davis, I got a lot of. I still have hope for Kamani Vidal, even though he's not been practicing because of the injury. I don't love Bucky Irving. I don't have a ton of him, but I'm just trying to get some exposure because I do think he's going to be used in that offense. I've cooled off on Rashad White. Not that I was like super high on him. Yeah, Blake Corum I've gotten a decent amount of because I like his contingent upside. How many players from one team is too much? In other words, what is ideal? I think 4 is fine, not counting the quarterback, which is where I'm at with Seattle. And given the fact that I have Seattle like this, I could even like make this a 3 quarterback build if if Geno falls a ton. But there's Tyler Lockett out there somewhere that team might get him. Isn't Russell Wilson towards the bottom in the sack stats too, like Fields? Yeah, but Fields, it's a bigger problem for Fields. Right now, we're stacked good enough. My one thing is I want to get more Bengals. That was the problem in going Noah Fant is I do want Mike Gesicki. I should have just done that. A Gesicki, Yoshivas, because Burton's gone. I actually want to do that. Get him on the radar. I don't have a bear, no. I don't have much for Seattle opponents because they get Green Bay, Minnesota. I don't have any of them. It's fine though. I mean, team stacks get more priority than that. Pretty. This is going to be like a 7 out of 10 team. I think that we did a good job getting enough correlation after a completely uncorrelated start. So it's a good example of like how you can build that in, but it's not like a masterful job. Got to do Gesicki, but he's complaining about tightness. Yeah, I don't even think I saw that. Over under how many weeks until J.K. Dobbins is injured and out for the season? I know. I just hit a dead spot with that Noah Fant pick. But I always regret getting a tight end in that range because I always like am fine enough with Jonnu or something. Jonnu fits the build too. Our division stacks overlooked, maybe a little bit. Oh wow, someone took Gino. Is it naked Gino? All right, we're going Yosivas. Is that naked Gino? No, it's the Lockett team. So I figured the Lockett team would do it. I'm fine with the two with Watson and Burrow. We do need to think about running backs. I love Tyrone Tracy. We could get Tracy to pair him with Neighbors. This could be a 2-7-7-2 team. Or I could go Jonnu. Maybe go Jonnu and then a running back to close it out. Let's go Jonnu. I like the idea. And then we'll get a running back to close it out. And hope that Walker can just kind of be the anchor for this team. The thing I do like about the running back room is you have a good combination of like high floor with high ceiling. Corum being sort of a ceiling play. Walker kind of a ceiling play. And then Ford, McLaughlin, more of a floor play. And Irving kind of in the middle. Do you feel like there's been a lot more casuals early on this year? Maybe it's because I've been doing puppy instead of BBM, but feel like I'm getting stack sniped by naked QB drafters every draft. Yeah, it happens pretty frequently, even in BBM. I don't know if it's casual or not. I mean, there are some players, some quarterbacks that do have backdoors that are reasonable enough. I don't know if I needed the third tight end, but I think it gives it a little bit more uniqueness. Since we went 5 wide receivers to start, I think it's okay to have 7 on this team and then get a running back at the end. Yeah, I mean, this is the right build. Let's get a running back, though, in this final round. Well, there goes Tracy right as I was clicking him. You guys can shout out who you want me to pick, too. Let's see. We can go Royce Freeman. He's getting some love out of Dallas. This is literally a pick anyone you want. I don't like Rasheen Ali that much because they're talking up Justice Hill a little bit. Jamal Williams is logical. I could go. I don't want to go Foreman with Jerome Ford. Jordan Mason's getting brought up. I didn't want to click that. Will Shipley. I think Royce Freeman's kind of interesting. Someone said Lauby. I think he went. Yeah, he got drafted. I'm also intrigued by Pirine because I think he's going to get cut. And so maybe he falls into the right spot. But, I mean, this is just a dart throw kind of play. I might go Royce. Feel like he's going to be low rostered in BBM. And Dallas has a climbable depth chart. Do I think he's going to be like a league winner? No. But could there be weeks where Zeke is banged up and they lean on Freeman? I don't think it's out of the question. Cody Schrader. Yeah, I forgot that he went to San Francisco. I was literally just thinking about that. I was like, what team did he go to again? Interesting prospect. Older prospect. Don't think he's that good. Probably just more of a bench guy throughout his career. Good final season production, though. That's for sure. I mean, we can go Bigsby, too. I mean, there's enough guys here. But I think Freeman's like the lower rostered dart throw, whatever. Because this team is complete enough. It's not like stellar complete, but it's like solid, right? Someone said Akers. Akers did look good. I just have I'm skeptical of not only the situation, but the Achilles. Trey Sermon could be interesting I have Neighbors. That's a bring back in week 17. But I think we're just going to go Freeman and have some fun with this. Here's the board. I didn't get a bring back for Seattle, but we got this. We got the team stack. That's for sure. There goes Foreman. All right. Let's go Freeman. And there we have it. Burrow, Watson, Walker, Corum, Ford, Jaleel, Bucky, Royce, Tyreek, Malik, DK, T, Terry, Jackson, Andre, and Njoku. I don't know why I didn't say David. Noah and Jonnu. All right, guys, what are you saying? What are you thinking? 7 out of 10? 7 out of 10 squad today? Pretty average team. It's not like a league winning one, not like an obvious one, but not a bad one, that's for sure. I appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. I don't think I'm going to have time to do a stream tomorrow, unfortunately. But I will be back on Wednesday when we started. That's been the time that we typically do this. I will be back on Wednesday. I just have too many shows tomorrow. That's what it comes down to. Someone said interested in Yoshivas. What do you expect? I don't think I still like Burton a lot because I think he's really good. But my expectation is maybe he could play the slot and be an interesting player there without Tyler Boyd. But I'll be back on Wednesday. I won't be back tomorrow. So check out all the stuff that I'm doing over on lateround.com, all that good stuff. Take advantage of the Underdog promo. You get a free late round draft guide. Thanks everyone for tuning in.